Good morning.
Good morning.
The story of the first Easter comes to us in 4 different accounts. Each of the Gospels tells the story in a slightly different way, and that's because the story is already a sermon, and each of the Gospel writers wants to tell us a slightly different sermon. So this morning, you're going to hear a sermon about a sermon. That's the way it goes. This one is very emotional. Matthew's is a very emotional story. And this is the part of my job where I'm really glad I'm a preacher rather than a scholar at this point in my life. That as a scholar, I probably wouldn't have noticed the emotion to begin with, because we as scholars aren't really supposed to notice emotion very much. But even if I had noticed all the emotion in Matthew's account, I probably would have responded by writing an excruciatingly dull paper about it. Because that's what we do as scholars. But as a pastor, I get to at least do something hopefully a little less excruciatingly dull than that. What we actually needed this morning was musical accompaniment for this to sort of get the mood right. But I couldn't quite get it all together, so you're going to have to imagine it. So over here, right, we have Perry on his drums, right? Full drum kit, none of this soft brushes stuff, right? The sticks. Eric on the screaming guitar, right? I'm going to crank my bass amp to about 11, right? We got lights and smoke and, lasers going, maybe Blair's going to come up and channel her inner Pat Benatar. I don't know, or we'll do some Nirvana, something like that. Okay, so that's the mood over here, right? And over here, we've got Cindy on her solo harp. Okay, that's the sort of contrast that Matthew gives us. The harp gets to start. After the Sabbath, as the first day of the week was dawning, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to see the tomb. Who are these women? Mary Magdalene seems to be well known. She doesn't seem to need an introduction. Just a village woman who was following Jesus. And then there's the other Mary. There are 3 Marys in the Gospels. Sort of like a gathering of traditional Catholic women. Right? Not all of them are named Mary, some of them are named Maria. But there's Mary Magdalene, and then there's sort of the Mary, Martha, and John Mary, but she's not mentioned at all in the Gospel of Matthew. So the only other Mary we've got is Jesus' mom, who's called the other Mary, oddly. But these are 2 women who've known Jesus, well, one of them for longer than Jesus has known Jesus. And she's going to the tomb to see the tomb of her son. And like a week ago, they were doing Hosanna, Laud, Hosanna. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. And now, is he really dead? How can this have happened? What can this possibly mean? And then suddenly, boom! Right? Here we go with the screaming guitars thing. Right? And suddenly, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of the Lord, descending from heaven, came and rolled the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothes white as snow. This is the day before amplifiers and 3D effects on the movie screen. Right? The most spectacular thing these women have seen before in their lives might be like a sunrise or something like that. And suddenly this, and they must have just been, anybody at that in those days must have just been overwhelmed with something like this. Right? So just all of this emotion happening when they thought they were coming to something very quiet. Just such a great shock. Then the mood drops back down again. So we're back to the harp. But the angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid. I know you are looking for Jesus crucified. He is not here, for he has been raised, as he said. Come, see the place where they laid him. Then go quickly and tell his disciples he has been raised from the dead. And indeed he is going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him. This is my message for you. In the previous verse, the soldiers had fallen down out of fear. The women weren't supposed to fear. Do not be afraid. I had always imagined that the angel came to roll the stone away so that the body of Jesus could exit the tomb. But that doesn't seem to be the story here. The angel rolls the stone away so that the women can go in. But apparently, the body of Jesus is already gone. The Gospels are very curious this way, that they seem to be very certain that the Jesus that was raised is the same Jesus who died. At the same time, they are very certain that the Jesus who was raised is not the same Jesus who died. At the heart of our faith, there is still mystery. They're given these two messages. Right? The first message is for them. Go and see. He has been raised, just like he told you. The second message they are given is for somebody else. Go and tell his disciples. And apparently Matthew can't imagine female disciples because it seems to be like, the women and the guys going on. But what's interesting is that the women are told, go. Greek has a lot of different ways of saying go. There's a word for going up and going down and going forth and going in. These are all different words. And this particular word, go, is the same word we find in verse 19 where Jesus says, go make disciples of all nations. So the women, in their going, are already fulfilling the Great Commission. This is sort of the ultimate command. They are not disciples, as far as the angel is concerned. They are just doing the disciple thing, which, I don't know, seems to be about the same thing as far as I can tell. And the angel ends the message. I love this. This is my message to you. If you want to hear this message again, please press 1. The mood then goes up again, right? So we're back to Nirvana going on over on here in the corner. So they left the tomb quickly with fear and great joy and ran to tell his disciples. Suddenly Jesus met them and said, greetings, and they came to him, took hold of his feet and worshipped him. Wow. Fear and great joy. So the whole message, do not fear, didn't work. Which is not very surprising, right? But at least you got fear and great joy, rather than just flat-out fear. But they're running and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, and suddenly Jesus is there, which was not expected, right? The angel didn't say anything about go running and Jesus is going to meet you. It's just like go running and tell, and suddenly Jesus is there. And he goes, hey, right? Best game of hide and seek ever. I just love this. This is great, right? So right, this appearance of Jesus suddenly with them, and he repeats the message, right? So I guess they pressed 1 or something like that. I don't know, right? And then the mood comes back down again, and I don't know if the harp is going to work here. I think you almost need violins. Then Jesus said to them, do not be afraid. Go and tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There you will see. So we have the repetition of the message. Go to Galilee. Go home. That's what Galilee was for them. Just go back home. Don't go to a particular place because Jesus is there. Just go home. There you will see him. So that's the message for today. Go home. It'll be fine. At some point, as you are going, you will meet Jesus. He's already there, wherever it is you are going. Hallelujah.